clean data across all programs and across all learners, and help track learners when they move between programs, to help us understand who the learners are, what they need, and whether they're meeting their goals. So, yeah, that's what we have.
That's great. I think that's probably more, but that's a wonderful summary of what you were talking about at your table. Thank you. One of the things that Tajim and I noted going around the tables is that every conversation was different. So don't feel that you need to be aligning your comments to what the other table said. So why don't we move down to the next table and see what two main insights this table got out of this conversation.
Well, we picked up on Bridget's comment about working with other departments, reaching out. And I shared a little bit about a project that our Literacy Coalition in Saskatchewan had done with Health Canada. And I think Lindsay had a great idea around collecting those stories of literacy organizations working with different departments and ministries and sharing that to acknowledge those departments and their interest, but also just for the benefit of our group as a whole. Were there other slides?
We said, you know what they said.
You can't say that.
We just did.
The one voice. Yeah.
The one voice did come up in our conversation.
Okay, so the one voice, the unified voice. Okay, I'm just going to take a note of that. That's interesting. Okay, thank you. How about this table here?
I'm going to say what. Well, the problem that we noticed is that we would like to see that word, that term literacy, maybe thrown out. And we want to see something more approaching the idea of adult education, or adult learning program, or adult education program. The reason being that many people thinking of the word literacy might see it as a way of putting them down and think, you know what, and they're thinking, well, I'm fine, I can function, I know how to read. And they might have an issue with that particular term. Secondly, we thought we should put the ministry in the program, put them in the classroom, put someone from government to see what the problem is with these programs on the ground. And when they're resistant and saying, well, your program is fine as it is, everything's going fine, they don't know what the problem is with our learners. Put them in the classroom with the learners, and they'll say, oh, okay, you have a deaf class. Oh, and they can't sign, and I can't sign, so what am I supposed to do? So now you're going to put them in a deaf-blind program. Can we interact with that consumer? And then they'll see the issues that these groups face. MTCU, the Ministry of Culture and Citizenship, Ministry of Health, and the Consumer Affairs. Why don't you write that? I just want you to clarify your notes there.
What we looked at is let's create a new model. Let's create a different model for the adult learning program and make it a holistic approach rather than just a singular focus. Let's keep it as goal-oriented. Let's look at a multi-funder approach so that we would have TCU, we would have citizenship and culture, health and consumer affairs, because these are all the areas that people that have a responsibility for the issues that people face. So we have multi-funders, we have a wide range of programs, and you could meet everyone's needs within that. I mean, citizenship, understanding the election process, understanding what it means to be a Canadian citizen, rights and responsibilities. Ministry of Health, how to be a good health consumer. Consumer Affairs, how to buy wisely. I mean, you can get into the whole range of enter guides and things like this.
Right.
Let's have a new, yeah.
Thank you.
A new
That's
model.
excellent insights. Different ideas, totally. We're running out of time. The table at the back, please. Before the sign is held up.
Well, we did talk about the challenges of something that hit me was standalone literacy programs versus integrated literacy programs, and that there may be some potential in looking at how your position, so that you're not just saying, oh, come to our literacy program, but it's actually a program for people who are, low income with housing issues, and we incorporate literacy into it. And one of the problems is that if you're only doing one thing, you only have one funder, and you only have one way of doing it. And is there ways to, open it up a bit and still maintain the funding that comes in? So it just takes some imagination. I think that was the real takeaway for me of, just the the necessity to diversify, and also that literacy, again, as a means, not an end. And so thinking about what you want the end to be, and maybe that might be a way to conceptualize how to organize the programs and who you should influence within government.
Getting a card waved at me. The last table. Thank you.
Well, we talked about the need for having conversations on a national level with perhaps there used to be movement for Canadian literacy.
Well,
The
it's
name. But they would have to gather this information so that there would be a unified voice. And we know that one size doesn't fit all, so we'll have to have those layers. And then a conversation with OLS that informs the policy that comes down, rather than just it comes down and so we shift and we say, oh, guess we're going to do this now. Yeah, basically we did talk about that.
Excellent. Thank you. That was a variety of insights, a wide perspective, a lot of talk about a unified message coming from the field, a lot of talk about looking at approaching government from diverse angles to talk to many different ministries and or departments, a need to perhaps, the idea that started here but was carried on is to create a new model, so to speak, for literacy that sees it integrating things like MTCU, citizenship, health, consumer. Those are all great insights. I hope you found this conversation interesting.
I found it fascinating.
We want you all to make sure you share a business card, because this is all about networking. So, pass your business cards out, and we'd like to say thank you very much.
Thanks.